Hello.
Hi. Hey there. Hi, Maggie.
Hi.
Maggie, I'm going to try to co-host you again.
Okay.
Use a noun as a verb. Reading room. Am I getting that right? All right, so let's try this more carefully. Make a co-host. You are now co-host.
Oh, cool.
And as you see people, if they show up late, just go ahead and click them in as best as you are able. You kept poor Zane waiting a while the other day on Wednesday. We were not ignoring you. We were just not successful with our system. So Maggie, can you see the participants panel? If you click on participants, it should show up at the right. You do see it?
I see it. I see it.
Okay. And you see all of us there. Actually, people in the room, if you would, except for Nathan, who's not, I don't think able to link in. Go ahead and link into that so we can all engage in the discussion, and actually they can hear you and you can hear them. So, oh, you got Lauren in. Excellent. All right, so this is working then. Yay, us. All right, so let's do that. It says it's recording. That's awesome. And before I do this, I need to share the screen. So it seems like a lot of you guys like the Friday online thing. So that's good. So that's kind of what I have to do. And why is that bigger than my window? Oh, it's because I switched to screens. All right. And it's showtime. There it is. All right. Yeah. Now, are you seeing my projector version or are you seeing my display screen? Do you see just one screen that just says 437 week 1 long form spring? Okay. All right. So that we'll see how it records. So I thought I was being very clever trying to do Zoom in 334 and 337 and WebEx in 235 because of the different ways that they record this, record the sessions. But I'm also realizing after about a day of doing this that it's a real pain in the butt toggling back and forth between both formats. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get better at it. We're not going to go over the reading today. Actually, what we're going to do is do kind of a running start through the discussions from Wednesday, and then get straight into what we want to talk about, which is our first project, SOS, start of semester project. And you still have that date messed up in February. The rest of them, actually, they're all wrong. Go by what's in Canvas. Don't go by that slide. Let's see. Reminders about captions. And then, all right, so let's go ahead and start the engagement quiz. And we're not gonna go over the readings until next week. What I am gonna do is this is kind of a priming question. This is kind of one of those things that, you know, some psychological mojo to get you thinking about what we're gonna talk about today. What are qualities in a photo that you feel are meaningful or powerful? That you think makes for a meaningful or powerful photo? In other words, what makes you go wow when you see a picture? Hopefully you've been looking at other people's pictures and you kind of stalk people on Instagram, or you know, you're kind of at least in the class material, you're kind of seeing the work that we think is better than average. What makes you go wow? If it helps, think about a picture that made you go wow, and then think about what drove that emotional response or that level of interest. At least put 2 items. Okay. You guys are probably finished-ish by about now. What makes you go, wow? Anybody that wants to go live with their mic/camera and want to share, please do. Yes, please, go ahead. Brandon. I do actually, or you'll get crazy feedback. So go ahead.
Okay. So one thing I put was expression. I think expression is extremely important. Either expression through body language, through the face, or through the eyes even. Like any kind of human expression is really one of the first things I look for in a good picture because it elicits that emotional response on a really good level that I think allows you to connect with the subject really well. And then the second thing, can they still hear me? I don't know if they can.
Actually, I can't because I'm muted.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you guys?
Can you guys still hear me? Okay, cool. Just making
I'm
sure.
seeing now.
It wasn't showing that green box around my name. So
Yeah.
the second thing was interaction. So I think if you can capture interaction either between two subjects, two people, interaction between a person and like their art or their dog or, you know, really just anything, it kind of allows you to put yourself in that moment a little better because it's much more impactful to look at a person interacting with another person than to see a person by themselves. Unless that is the theme is isolation in some way. But I think those are two really important things for me.
Okay. Go ahead, unmute. Yeah, I like both of those. Expression, and you know, we talk about emotion. In fact, I'll be talking about it today in 235. It's just one of those really important components, having some emotion and response, and something to motivate the picture. And then interaction too. And again, we see it, you know, it's nice to, well, I would expect someone in the 400 level class to understand the importance of gesture and interaction. And when they do the decisive moment, often in 235, no matter how much I explain it, there's a real lack of understanding of like what the heck a moment is. And usually, you know, and I tell them, usually the best way to capture a moment is to put yourself in a place where you're photographing interaction. So, I mean, it's one of a couple of ways to do it, but yeah, so it's been, yeah, I like both of those. I don't want to see. Zane, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Please share if you would. I'm just gonna,
Yeah. I said that a quality in a photo that makes a meaningful photo is subject matter and how the photographer uses them, whether the subject is a person, place, or thing.
okay.
And then also I said along the lines of the emotion, how the photographer captured emotion. Because I feel like I can connect better to a photograph that has a bigger emotional impact than any other photograph.
Okay. Great. This sounds good. Lauren.
Hi.
Hey.
For me, I put the expression. I also put something a little less popular. I think location is important, not so much with photojournalism, but with like portrait photography. I noticed that I follow a lot of Instagrammers or like photographers on Instagram that have like really cool like either urban backgrounds or like nature backgrounds, or even if they're not cool, like they'll set them up in a way that makes them look interesting.
Yeah, no, that's important. Heck, we talk, and again, we haven't gotten into it this semester in 235, but we talk about context. Back in the Dorothea Lange discussions, we were talking about context, sense of place. Actually, there's a whole sense of place assignment, and sense of context. Beyond that, you know, is there a sense of time or history, or you know what's going on in the environment? And then of course there's the environmental portrait. So yeah, location is undeniably important. Good. Brandon, you're next on the screen. I'm just going down the screen, but we can't see.
Um, cool. I put how the picture is framed as a shot. So like how they utilize a background or a setting to enhance the shot of a portrait, kind of like using reflections or like shooting through gaps or like glass. And then another one being like the use of color, because color in general can like affect one's mood. And so like vibrant colors and like how it's utilized within like wardrobe or like setting. I feel like both of those are kind of powerful in a way.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Maeve, you can go next. I am.
I assume you can hear me. I said faces, which is probably what a lot of people said, and just like when you can actually feel those emotions. And then the second thing I put was like when you can tell like the photographer took a step back and like got like another side of the story. Like I was looking at the person who the next person, the freelancer that we're talking to now.
AJ Mask.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was looking at his photos, and the ones that like really like stood out to me was like the ones where he like took a photo that I wouldn't have expected, because like I'm bad at taking a step back. Like I think this is like Kanye West photo where he like took a step back and like showed everything. And like I don't know. I think that those really stick out to me because like I struggle with it. So like when I see other photographers doing it, like I'm like, they did a great job with that.
Yeah. And sooner or later, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, hey, I mean, that's what I talk about the third level. Right?
Mhm.
First level is what you try to shoot. What I mean, what you turn in. Second
Mhm.
level is what you shoot while you're trying to shoot.
Yeah.
And that you want to turn in. And there's the third level that's like the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And yeah. And the way we grow is we get to that third level, may or may not be purposeful, but next time it is purposeful because it's like, hey, that worked.
Yeah.
So
Can I
cool.
mute now? Yeah.
Chris.
I said for portraits, usually eye contact or strong emotion, like a lot of people said. And then for non-portraits, I think it's all about timing. So kind of like the decisive moment that we learned about, and also timing, like what time of day, like if the light is really powerful. But yeah, I put timing and then strong emotion.
Okay. Yeah, timing, moment. Maggie.
I put, well, first like emotion. So I kind of said that whenever I look at a photo, if I can feel what the
Ooh.
subject is. What?
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute. So would you
Oh.
say that again?
Okay, we're good. I put emotion. So like if I look at a photo and I can feel like what the subject is feeling, I think it's a successful photo. Whether it's sadness or happiness. And then another thing I put is if it's like seems natural. So some people like they can tell that a camera is on them and they act a different way than they would if there wasn't a camera on them. So I think if a photographer is really good about kind of being invisible to where like they can get that natural moment, it's also a good photo.
Yeah, that's really important. There's all sorts of tricks. Candace Cusick, actually, who you just saw her video last on Wednesday. She's out a trick where she'll like sit down and kind of put her camera on the ground, look like she's fiddling with it, but she'll be kind of working the people who are like watching whatever she's watching. Because if she lifts up the camera, tries to do this, people are going to change and start loving for the camera and hot dogging. Yeah, so you learn all these like tricks, and I feel ethically conflicted talking about tricking people. But usually in public, again, there's no real expectation of privacy, so you can kind of it's okay to do that to a certain extent. Certainly get their names afterwards and let them know that you got a picture. And that's again a good ethical approach. Hey Megan.
Yes.
Go ahead and share anything that you wrote.
Oh, my bad. This is Maggie. I already went.
Okay.
Yeah, did you say Megan?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of thought you said Maggie too.
Oh, sorry.
So I wrote that I really I follow a lot of like wedding photographers, and so whenever you get a shot of like bride and groom sort of like staring at each other, or you just like see the love in their eyes. So again, sort of that emotion type, but more specifically like love emotion. And then I said with like landscape photography, whenever you see like sunsets or like just like a pretty image that I really want to like travel and do like sort of like landscape photography. And so they always make me really happy.
Okay. Nice. I'm seeing some themes kind of develop as you guys talk. McKenna.
I said how the photographer kind of plays with lighting. I think lighting can make like a really dramatic effect in some photos. So I said that, and then also just overall expression in the photo.
Okay. Who hasn't gone next? Okay, go ahead.
I said emotion, kind of just like everybody else. And then I also said framing. I think for me, like a powerful photo, like I go wow when I see photos that are really cropped in, like really detailed shots, but also like photos that have like wide shots. I feel like those can be really powerful as well.
Nice. Yeah, you're good at both of those, I think. Destiny, I don't think you've gone yet, or have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I kind of also touched on like the eye-catching design or posing. Obviously like using those elements of design and making sure that your like your subject isn't just in the middle of the frame, like something that's interesting. And then I also talked about like color schemes or themes that I'm drawn towards. So a variation in like this is a really bright photo or this is a really dark photo. Like I like not all of the same sort of thing for every single photo.
Variety.
Kind of like staying away from that batch editing sort of thing.
Sure. Sure. Good idea. Who hasn't talked yet? There's one person that's blank, doesn't have a name or camera on, but everybody talk? Maybe somebody. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's, I think we got to everybody. Is there anybody that didn't get to share? Just want to make sure. Nathan, since you're visiting, what do you think? What makes a powerful photo?
So going from 3 to 1, probably composition,
Mhm.
lighting, and then probably go with expression as well.
Oh, nice.
I
Yep.
think, lighting is more important because what you show and what you don't show are equally as valuable to the final result of the image.
Yep. So you guys couldn't hear, but Nathan was talking about composition, lighting, and expression, not in that order. Okay, so long form, what is it good for? And this is something, do me a favor, if you would, write this stuff down. First question is, what is long form photojournalism? Because we haven't gone over real, I mean, we talked a little bit about narrative and stuff last time, but yeah, if you were to give your grandmother who doesn't know anything about photojournalism, just, tell her, or your granddad if you'd rather, what long form photojournalism is, how would you explain it? Lots of pictures, bunch of pictures, right? Maybe that's not inaccurate. And I'll throw out the second question to get you thinking. Why is it useful? What's it good for? And then we're going to talk more.
Is this stuff that we can write down in the journal?
Totally. Definitely put it in the journal. All this, everything you do with a camera or even without a camera that gets you thinking about photojournalism. Anything's good for a journal. Since you asked about journals, I'll let you know that in your Canvas homepage, I put a link to the examples I was going over quickly on Wednesday about what good journals look like. Got the handwritten pictures of the pages of the journal in there, but also a couple of the ones that were done on computer. So the links are in Canvas. I haven't built your submission folders yet. I did it for 235, but I haven't done it for anybody else. But that's soon. That's a weekend thing. Okay, so let's, looks like at least in the room, a lot of folks are kind of to get into a place where they're ready to, they've stopped writing and maybe can talk. So what did you say long form photojournalism is? Seeing I saw your camera go live, so go ahead and actually, no, let's start. Sorry. Let's start with Maggie because she's at the left hand part of the screen, and let's try to stay organized as best as I can.
I said, one moment. I said I don't know exactly what it is, but this is my guess. So I just said it's to tell a story for longer than the one moment that like a photo captures. So you kind of give a little bit more, I don't know, it's like telling a story with more than one photo. So like it could be start to finish, or it's just more like you're elaborating on it a little bit more.
Okay, perfectly good and accurate, actually, observations. McKenna.
Yeah, I pretty much said the similar thing. I also kind of just said that it's photojournalism, I guess, for more larger stories that you can tell. Like you can include a lot more details.
Okay. Anna, what did you put down? Thank you, McKenna. By the way.
I kind of put the same thing they put. I just put like lots of pictures to fully tell a story.
Sure. Yeah, that's good enough. Megan?
I said that it's a different experience for all involved, meaning like photographer, viewer, and subject, and that sometimes stories need a longer amount of time to sort of break down barriers and capture the whole story.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that reading about slow journalism or slow photojournalism on Monday, but yeah, we won't get to it today. Destiny, thank you, Megan. Destiny, you there? We can come back
sorry.
to you.
Just
That's all right.
struggling with my computer. I think long form photojournalism mostly so that you can like have, kind of like a photo essay, but more journalistic, I guess. That's sort of what I think of it as.
Okay. So yeah, emphasis on narrative or storytelling. Although essays, kind of again, as we discussed last week, actually not last week, on Wednesday, it's a little different. Who's the, let's see, I'm gonna ask. Oh, that's you? Okay, okay. Well, actually, we'll let you go first. Go next.
Maybe. I don't know.
So go ahead, Maeve, and share what you wrote.
Okay, are you muted?
I'm muted.
Okay. Oh, I just put that it's like an invested and thoughtful story done with images and captions. Just kind of like a simple.
Okay. Thank you for remembering captions.
Yeah, of course.
Dr. Nagelot, thanks you. Zane, you're next.
I said long form, it's like a visual narrative for storytelling, whether it has a beginning, middle, and end. So it's a longer story being told visually. Obviously, photojournalism, long form.
Okay, so a story at the beginning, middle, of an end, and what was the other thing? Or did you have another thing?
No, I said it was a visual narrative.
Okay, all right, yeah, narrative. Okay. Let's see who is next. Oh, just totally scrambled my order here. Lauren.
I put the photojournalism is like following a story for like an extended period of time.
Okay, extended period of time. Yeah, exactly. McKenna's already talked. Brandon with the DEN and then Brandon with the DON. So thank you. Yeah, I am now.
I wrote long form photojournalism is the ability to tell stories or cohesive ideas over an extended course of time through the eye of the lens.
Perfect.
Sorry.
All right. And Brendan, do you want?
So I put something similar. I said long form photojournalism is when a photographer documents a subject over an extended period of time and hopes to document some form of change or lack thereof in the subject or the subject's environment.
Okay. Nice. And Kristen with the TEN.
I just put long form is photojournalism that revolves around stories that you stay with, photo projects that you really like develop upon and cover different sides of.
Okay, perfect. And this is what I put down for that question. I think you all have pretty satisfactory answers, which is nice. Every once in a while, you got one or two that just totally don't understand about it. You guys, again, we talked about it, especially if you went through 332, the photo editing class. I mean, it was, I think, really kind of focused on at least either narrative or essay approaches to editing. So shouldn't surprise anybody that we have our head around this. So what I put down is some sort of highly developed visual report that could involve, might, expended coverage and content, meaningful context, unifying theme, especially if it's a photo essay, or certainly a story as well, a narrative structure or storyline or arch, as it's sometimes called, a special or elaborated presentation. So, and we went over all the different ways in photo editing that we could deliver that presentation. And I had you try actually a couple of the same things in different presentations, Instagram stories, online website, web page design and layout, print layout, of course, and then sequencing in a slideshow one after another, all different editing approaches. So, and there's even more. So may include alternate modes of storytelling, such as multimedia, 360 video, really the long form out there using 360 and so many other new media, and virtual reality, immersive media, 360, augmented reality is also out there. It's not really, haven't done that much with it with photojournalism, but these are all just different approaches, and we're thinking about all these things. Second question, what's it good for? And you know what? I'm just obsessive enough to want to fix that weird break in photojournalism. I think this is one of those slideshows I converted from Keynote to PowerPoint and got all wonky. Anyway, so while I fix this, it's not easy being me. Oh, that's not working either. Yeah, good enough. Let's see. Zane, you can start.
I think it's good for like bigger stories that you're trying to tell. Like, for example, like a documentary is a good example of a long form photojournalism, because you're documenting something over an extended period of time and you're expending a lot of time doing it. Because I love documentaries, so that was an example.
Okay, I like it. Lauren.
Yeah, it could be like for a documentary, or I don't know, maybe a news story if you want to like follow a specific family that like had like a trauma happen to them, to see how they deal with it over time and like how it has affected their daily lives or something.
Okay, I like that. Why would you want to do that?
Maybe to spread awareness.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You just see me jump. I'm excited about that. Yeah, reaching audiences. And again, I'm going to kind of stress it's important to do it for us, our living, putting food on the table, our organizations. It's really about the audience, right? How do you engage audiences, right? So Lauren, spoke to that. Brendan with the DEN.
I said that it's good for showcasing the changes that can occur over a longer period of time or develop a deeper connection to a subject in order to tell their story.
Nice. And that's true. Brandon with the DON.
So I said it allows for a cohesive story to be told from a distance we don't usually get to view life through. So like with Leo Kim's Eric Middleton story, you were able to see his entire journey, through his sickness and the eventual conclusion there. And it's very similar to, like, if you were to show a viewer a picture of polar bears on a melting ice cap and say that ice caps are melting, it's going to not be as effective as showing them an actual documentary of a polar bear's families, like, living through the ice caps melting and their journey along there.
Right. No, it's yeah, it's powerful. And it's also really it's a powerful way to deliver that information. I have a very vivid image in my head of, I think someone did kind of a small photo essay, or at least a couple of pictures of a polar bear who was starving to death, and this polar bear looked like completely miserable. There may have been something else wrong with him, I don't know, but this polar bear was like, it was just really. And I don't have a lot of empathy for polar bears usually. It's an apex predator, it's a difficult object for compassion, but yeah, it was really stirring. So yeah, it's a really powerful way to deliver that information and change hearts and minds. Kristen.
I wrote, it's good for multifaceted stories that really deserve the time to be told fully and thoroughly. Like other people have said, when you want to show the full, like, beginning, middle, and then ending.
Okay. Maggie.
I think it's really used for, like, to spread awareness to, like, your audience. Definitely, because, like, if they see one picture or something, they'll think about it for, like, maybe like 30 minutes and then kind of move on from it. But if you have, like, the entire story and more of the story, like, they'll actually realize that it's, like, real. But I don't like you said about the polar bears, like, if someone sees just a picture of a healthy polar bear says ice caps are melting, no one's going to be like, oh, cool. So, like, I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally following you. Yeah, and it's a complex question that I posed, which kind of gets to a lot of the points that I want to make, as we continue these conversations. So Maeve, you're next.
So I basically said the same thing as, like, you guys, but that I feel like people are very, like, visual. So, like, taking, like, a photo story, like, like, makes people, like, not care more, but have, like, more of an emotional attachment to it. Because, like, you can hear about, like, all this stuff happening, but, like, once you see it, like, kind of affects you differently. And, like, the story aspect of, like, seeing the, like, involvement and stuff. So I think it's just, like, spreading awareness as well.
Okay. Hannah, you're next.
My mind kind of went to what Zane said about, like, documentaries and stuff. So I said, like, fully capturing something that takes an extended period of time.
Exactly. McKenna, I think you already talked, didn't you? Megan, did you go?
No, I didn't. But I pretty much have said the same thing, that I think that they can, like, make more of an impact and they leave more of a lasting impression. Again, seeing, like, one image versus seeing multiple sets of images. So.
Okay. And I think last is Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone else kind of, like, already said everything, but I think it's good for, like, a continued narrative as well. So, I mean, back to, the polar bears specifically, you can release those photos all at the same time and it's easier for people to understand that. But even better is, like, release some of them and then, especially when you're doing a continuous story, a week later do some more and a week later do some more, and it helps continue the story and continue the narrative of whatever it is you're trying to tell.
Right. Yeah, so it's, again, what I come to when I think of it a lot is just engagement. How do you engage the audience? We talked about it a little bit in 235 when we got to this part. The human brain is actually kind of, it tends to follow when we think about things that have happened in our lives. When we think about anything, really, often we tend to, our cognitive processes tend to be reconstructed as kind of a timeline. So we tend to think in storytelling. It's like part of who we are to the depths of our own hardwiring, right, in our brains. So, and that's why I think the narrative is so highly valued as a expansive visual storytelling technique, more so than photo essays. And again, I'm perfectly okay with photo essays. You know, think about how most people photograph a wedding, okay? Are they really, you know, most commercial photographers, are they trying to tell a story? Kind of. I mean, they're going to chronicle things. There's certain things that they have to get, you know, and they kind of have like almost, they do have a shoot list, a shot list, right? It's like check off, check off, check off, cutting the cake, walking down the aisle, first kiss, you know, the whole thing, you know. So that's, it's kind of this kind of space between photo essay, where it's kind of unified. All right, here's a bunch of pictures of the wedding. Does it tell a story? Kind of. What tells the story better to me is, you know, doing the wedding photojournalism approach. Really, you know, you certainly get those gotta get pictures, because that's an expectation, which is why you really need two people photographing it. You need a backup shooter, but also you're getting the spontaneous moments that people remember. And that's why the wedding photojournalist tends to charge a little bit more for that work, because it's harder. So something to think about. If you want to, and again, if you just want to shoot a garden variety wedding, you know, if you do decide to go down that road and do that, hey, no judgment. I mean, I think it's fine, and there's clearly a market for it. But there's other ways to do it too. We're putting that out there for you to think about, as those of you who are kind of interested in this sector. There's some potential there. And I will tell you, people like Candace Cusick, I can barely get her to talk to the class because she's so busy. All right, so we can call that cat Uncle Louie. I don't know, it's just a random cat name that seemed useful when I was putting this together. What we were gonna do, and I don't think 3 minutes gives us good time to do it, clearly, is do some brainstorming. So I think we'll do that on Monday. We'll start on Monday. What I'm going to ask you to do, come in Monday with a story idea for the first semester project. I have made available on Canvas something. Canvas, that's not it, actually. I will show you just, I'm going to show you all the links because we don't have time, but on Canvas, I put a link to some examples of strong work. It looks a little like this, examples of great work. Project 1. So this, I guess there was a women's march at the beginning of the semester in 2018. Yeah, these are Grace Holler's pictures. So we're totally gonna out whoever photographed them, because I didn't have time to go in and scrub all the names off. But so she photographed a women's march, just a one-hit sort of one-day event kind of thing. And this was Rachel Ellis's interpretation of the same thing. It's kind of more family and sidelines, right? So again, this is very similar to that, you know, photo story thing that you did for 235, because you've only got like a couple weeks to do it. This is what Janie Fooling photographed. She was doing some work, I guess some folks in telecom were doing a movie or shooting a film. And she was up all hours of the night doing this late project. And you can see her approach, overall picture, wide angle, middle range picture, a couple of details here. Well, not very many details. Maybe that's a detail. But again, very comprehensive, not a bad for a first project. This is another March, I think. Again, tight pictures overall, medium, different, a lot of lensing. Anyway, these are all, I think I'm out of time. So these are all in box.com with links from Canvas into those. Again, I haven't built your submission folders yet, but I don't think you're worried about that yet. And also, again, the journaling examples are in there as well. That's it for me today. Thanks. Have a wonderful weekend. And come back with a really awesome idea or two for your start of semester thing on Monday. We'll talk it through. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye.